in a city bash, a man with a plan in hand, the Joburg Safety Council member tasked to clean the land. He went to scout those derelict walls where the shadows like to hide, but the streets of Johannesburg are cold and there ain't no place to reside. He knocked upon a heavy door to see what lay within, but they slammed it hard right in his face, a symphony of sin. Oh, the irony is heavy as a stone beneath the sun, when the man in charge of safety is the one who's on the run. If the council isn't safe within the city that they lead, how must it be for the common folk sowing every seed? It's a lonesome, dusty trail when the law gets trapped within, kidnapped by a pimp, where the city's walls are thin. He and his entourage, they didn't turn away. They found a side door down the path to see the light of day. A lady of the evening stood and let them slip right through, but the air grew thick and heavy with a scent they never knew. Boom! The door slammed shut behind them, blocking out the light, and the safety of the city vanished in the dead of night. And wouldn't you know it, standing there with a gat held in his hand was a pimp who took a hostage in this weary, troubled land. The man who's meant to guard us was staring down the steel, a reminder that the danger in these streets is very real. Yeah, the safety officer was taken, held against his will, in a city that is struggling to keep its spirit still. If a pimp can snatch the council, Lord, what hope is left for us? Just a lonesome country melody kicking up the dust. In Johannesburg, the shadows grow, and the safety officer is the first to go.
Marvin Devine. I'm saying bye to all the lies and all the times you cried, saying that I wasn't right, yet I was right by your side. You manipulator, playing games, your friends commentators, and I don't know what you say about our private conversations, but it's got them hating. Thanks to all the rumors you be claiming. It's cool, I'm done with you, so they can throw you a celebration. You gon' hate it when you see me with somebody living better. I'm trying to tell you that me just doing me gon' have you jealous.
Friday, March 13th, 2026. Welcome back to the program, folks. Chris live in central Pennsylvania for your daily dose, your daily injection, your daily inoculation against misinformation, disinformation, hyperbole, propaganda, and all the other nonsense that comes to you from legacy media and from so many social media content creators. Welcome back to the program. Let's get to the news. Let's get straight to the news. South Africa's government is very much like the National Party, militarizing South Africa, sending the military in to do tasks that are not military related, putting community and military at risk. Why? Because the police are inept, underfunded, corrupt, and problematic. Thank you for your membership, Julie, for 11 months. That's exactly why it's happening. And this is reminiscent of the National Party deploying the military in the 1980s to quell civil unrest in the townships. No different. This is criminal unrest in the townships. and the military is being deployed in small numbers, insufficient to accomplish the mission they're being sent to do. It is a hopeless task that will not accomplish anything and will likely lead to the death of more South Africans, as we've seen the ill discipline from poorly trained troops in the murder of Collins Kosa a few years ago during the COVID scam. People have forgotten about that so quickly, so quickly. I have not forgotten. Like an elephant, I do not forget these things. Ramaphosa deploying reportedly 2,000 to 2,200 troops in the townships. One wonders how they're going to pull this off. What are they going to accomplish? What is their mission? What are the rules of engagement? Have the public been notified of the rules of engagement for the military and what role they can play? Do they have a detention authority? Do they have arrest authority? Do they have the right to use deadly force? What are the rules of engagement? No one has discussed this publicly. I've not heard this in Parliament. I've not heard this in the press. No one is asking the questions about what the rules of engagement are for the military in the townships. Should that disturb you? It should disturb you. Are you disturbed? I don't know. There's no public discussion about this in South Africa whatsoever. The South African Police Service to prevent and combat illegal mining and gangsterism in the Eastern Cape, Free State, Gauteng, Northwest, and the Western Cape. How so? How so? How exactly will it be assisting the police? Will they be providing transport? Will they be providing logistics, which they don't have? Will they be providing arrest and detention? Will they be shooting suspects? Will they be deploying to crime zones? Will they be in joint patrols? No information from the government. This is an absolute disgrace. This is a misuse of government resources. This is a sadness. Wait, is this not an act of apartheid regime? Yes, West House, it is. It is it not? Yes. There is no justification for this whatsoever. There is a legal basis for it. That is correct. The government has the authority to do this, but they owe the public answers. People need to know what the police and military are allowed to do and not allowed to do. Ramaphosa deploys 2,200 soldiers to fight crime in 5 provinces. He announced he was going to do it in 2 provinces. Now it's expanded to 5 provinces. Look at this. Soldiers patrolling the streets of El Dorado Park and Riverlea in Joburg. Those look like well-kept neighborhoods. I don't think crime is a major issue there based on that photograph. Ramaphosa authorized deployment of 2,200 soldiers to assist the police in the fight against crime in 5 provinces. Presidential spokesman Vincent Magwenya said the deployment serves to prevent crime and combat crime and support and preserve law and order under Operation Prosper, which is targeting illegal mining and gangsterism. It will cost nearly R1 billion. Magwenya said the deployed members of the South African National Force will assist the police prevent crime and combat. And they don't tell us how. They say in terms of Section 201, Paragraph 2, Subsection A of the Constitution, only the President is authorized the employment of defense force in cooperation with the police force. But what are they doing? What is their role? How many female soldiers become pregnant during this operation? Yeah, exactly, Light Rain. How many female soldiers become pregnant during this operation? Yeah, this is militarization of society. This is the ANC, a failing political party, a failed political movement that is attempting to militarize society and use the power of the government under the guise of anti-gangsterism. The state became a gangster state years ago. Only now they're responding. Bonnie Duplessis, thank you for 100 Rand super chat. And West House, hopefully they won't meet M23. That's true. If they meet M23 or if they meet any of the street gangs in Khayelitsha, they're likely to flee. Yep. They're likely to flee. Yeah. South African soldiers dismantle illegal mining operations near Johannesburg. Already at work. Look at that. While the police stand around and watch, the military does the work. South African National Defense Force soldiers load recovered generators and machinery left behind by illegal miners at a patrol in Randfontein. While the cop stands there with their pretty earrings on, the soldiers are the ones loading up the equipment. So, how many of these generators will wind up at the Pala Pala Game Ranch? How many will wind up at the Pala Pala Game Ranch? South African soldiers deployed to high crime areas have dismantled illegal gold mining operations in the community near Joburg, forcing some illegal miners to flee and abandon their equipment. Police and army recovered various tools used by illegal miners, including generators and drill machines. Makeshift trenches with food supplies and utensils belonging to the miners were also dismantled. Operation is part of a rare move by the government to deploy soldiers in some of the country's most crime-ridden areas, including the Western Cape province that includes the city of Cape Town. With dozens of abandoned mine shafts lining the outskirts of Johannesburg, illegal mining is rife in the area as heavily armed crime syndicates and informal miners known as Zama-Zamas enter the shafts to search for leftover deposits of gold or other precious metals. It is illegal to mine without a government license. Some places the conditions are dangerous. Well, in fact, in most places they're dangerous. Authorities say there are an estimated 30,000 zama-zamas in South Africa operating some 6,000 abandoned mine shafts. And this is as much as $4 billion in annual trade in lost gold to criminal syndicates. The police will also be working with the National Prosecuting Authority and multidisciplinary task teams to target the leadership, finances, firearms, and logistics of these criminal networks. Interesting. Interesting. So, the military is out confiscating zama-zamas. Well, state capture is here to stay. Yes, that's right. Well, of course we know that. Garth Tunison shares with us in News 24. Mavuso says Mashatile must never become president. Well, I don't have an argument with that. Busisiwe Mavuso, CEO of Business Leadership, has lashed out at Deputy President Paul Mashatile. He should not succeed Ramaphosa. Still, she believes that further attempts at state capture will not be as devastating given that the government's monopolistic control of industries such as power generation has been broken. Actually, that's a fairy tale. The government still controls power. They still have all authority over the power sector. They've simply broken Eskom into three entities, all run by patronage puppies. There is no difference. If her attempt to say that private generation of electricity is breaking monopoly of the state, that's not true either. They're charging people for owning solar panels, so they still have a monopoly. Speaking at an investment forum and investment industry event hosted by Collaborative Exchange in Santon, she argued that traces of state capture remain in government. He must never come into office. He's absolutely useless. Wow. Mentioned Mashatile during a panel discussion. She said gradual market reforms introduced by the government of national unity were helping de-risk the economy from politics by promoting greater private sector participation in industries where the government had previously enjoyed a monopoly. What are these market reforms? What are these gradual market reforms under the government of national unity, and who precipitated them? I'm unaware of any gradual market reforms in any market. What are you talking about? Who is doing this? This is just smoke and mirrors from rich elite business people who are trying to mislead you. What government reforms have happened in the government sector? What monopolies have been eased under the government of national unity? Is anyone aware of them? Please share that in the chat. If you're aware of something that we're not publicly aware of, please let us know. What exactly has been eased? What government regulations, what government moves, what government monopolies have been modified or eased as a result of the government of national unity? This is BS. I'm unaware of anything. I'm unaware of anything. Unreal. Unreal. Call for a statue of Mangosuthu Buthelezi to reflect the true liberation history of South Africa. A man actually fought for liberation, unlike many in the ANC who are simply terrorists and criminals. KZN MEC for Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs, Thulasizwe Buthelezi, has called for the city of Durban and the province to honor the late IFP founder Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi with a statue. The call comes a week after Ramaphosa unveiled 9-meter-high statues of Mandela and O.R. Tambo. Yes, the statues, which cost $11 million each, raised objections from civic bodies. On Friday, the code of MEC said a complete and truthful reflection of South Africa's liberation history must recognize Buthelezi's contribution alongside other national icons. Yep. And thank you, Westhouse, for the super chat of 14 Rand. We will have to get a board of inquiry for that. Yes, we'll need a board of inquiry. Calls for a statue of Mangosuthu Buthelezi. Just a moment here. Let me look at something very quickly. So News 24 reports that Springbok legend Nas Botha has relocated to the United States, making it official. I can confirm that it is true. Former Springbok fly half and super sport commentator Nas Botha has confirmed he's moved to the United States. He and his wife Karen, with their 3 children, heads of the family, having previously lived in the U.S. for sports-related endeavors. 2 of the 3 Botha children have earned scholarships in the U.S. Rapport reported this week that the former Bulls pivot, who played 28 tests for the Bucks between 80 and 92, that Botha and his wife Karen, along with their 3 daughters, quietly moved to the U.S. Until recently, as head of rugby at Pretoria High School, crafted a successful career as a broadcaster of Supersport. The 68-year-old Botha and his 59-year-old wife said the move was for family reasons, with reports indicating the 2 of the 3 daughters received sporting scholarships in the country. They settled in Kansas. He said, South Africa will forever hold a special place in our hearts, and we're grateful for the years we're able to live as part of its culture and community. In short, this move is about family and opportunities that lie ahead. We thank everyone for their understanding, and we will miss you all. Being part of South African rugby from the Springboks to Northern Transvaal has been one of the greatest honors of my life. Whether you supported me or not, I'll always cherish the bond we share. Of course, Nas is no stranger to America, having lived here previously, trying to play for the Dallas Cowboys back in the 1980s. There's anger over an ANC man using a chalet free of charge. More corruption. Ward councilors under scrutiny for allegedly costing $1.5 million in potential income to the city. Buffalo City Metro. Eastern Cape ANC councilor may find himself in hot water for allegedly living rent-free for the past 3 years at a beachfront chalet in Kugompa City. The chalet is situated in a park resort, which is owned by the Buffalo City Metro. The Special Investigating Unit may investigate the allegations involving the ward councilor, whose lengthy stay at the resort has reportedly resulted in the city losing more than $1.5 million in potential revenue. Shocker, shocker, shocker. Shocker, shocker, shocker. Not at all. More corruption by the ANC. More graft by those in power. Well, a foreign policy clash, which was inevitable between the Freedom Front Plus and the ANC, is leading to tensions in the so-called government of disunity. Yep. The Freedom Front Plus criticized South Africa's handling of U.S. relations, arguing tensions worsened after summoning Brent Bozell over his remarks. Freedom Front Plus leader Corne Mulder has come out in support of U.S. demands for trade restoration, criticizing ANC foreign policy as the root of diplomatic clash. Fikile Mabula defended South Africa's human rights-driven foreign policy, rejecting Freedom Front Plus's selective constitutional interpretation. Of course, Fikile Mabula is full of crap. There is no human rights-driven foreign policy by the ANC. The ANC supports terrorists. The ANC supports murderers. The ANC supports genocideers. We've seen this time and time again. The ANC, which lodges a complaint the International Criminal Court against Israel for Gaza, fails to join the Gambia's case over Myanmar, where a genuine genocide has been taking place for several years as they attempt to wipe out the Rohingya Muslim minority. The ANC is silent for their fellow brothers of Islam. Why is that? Because it's not politically palatable for their voters. Because they don't care about little yellow people in Asia, as they like to call them. Yes, they don't care about the Rohingya. They do not care. Meanwhile, the United States gives asylum and refugee status to people from Myanmar who are Rohingya. But not South Africa. No, that's not what South Africa does. No, the ANC, they support the Chinese who illegally have occupied and stolen Tibet. You want to talk about colonialism and colonial powers? Look no further than China. China is colonizing Africa each and every day. China has colonized Southeast Asia over centuries. There's a reason why Malaysia, half the population is ethnic Chinese, because they colonized it. Yeah, there's a reason why the Chinese are all over Southeast Asia, because they've colonized it, and they're colonizing the 21st century. We see them now. Now they have their apartheid policy of, just like the ANC's apartheid policy of, Bella, Basic Education Laws Amendment. The Chinese doing the same thing, forcing Mandarin down the throats of ethnic minorities. 59 ethnic minority communities recognized by the communists now being forced to learn in Mandarin, being forced to become good little Chinese citizens, just like the ANC is forcing everyone to become good little English speakers, even though English is not the language of anything but 6% of South Africa's population. Yes, the Chinese overlords, friends of the ANC. The ANC does not have a constitution driven by human rights. No, your foreign policy is not driven by human rights respect for it. You sell combat helicopters to murder Libyans by warlords in Benghazi. You allow that to happen under your watch. You allow South Africans to be recruited as mercenaries to murder Ukrainians in an illegal war in Ukraine. You have no moral high ground, ANC. You're simply lying to yourselves. Hey, Crocotopia, ANC does not know what the word genocide means. The Oxford Dictionary is racist and colonial. Exactly. Exactly. Yep. So, Freedom Front Plus, part of the government of national unity, says that South Africa may have overplayed its hand by summoning U.S. Ambassador Bozell over his remarks. The criticism has triggered a dispute within the ANC, where the party is trading barbs on X over the handling of U.S. relations. This week, the Department of National Relations summoned Bozell over what it described as undiplomatic remarks. Freedom Front Plus leader and MP Corne Mulder said on Thursday that the ambassador's recent remarks had generally been viewed as positive. Exactly. However, Mulder's comments drew a swift response from ANC Secretary General Fikile Mabula, who said such disputes should be handled through the GNU's internal clearinghouse rather than fought out in the public. Why not? You're fighting out the Brent Bozell issue in the public. It was Durko who went public with this. It was Durko who attacked Brent Bozell. So, no, I'm sorry. We don't want to hear about Fikile Mabula, who runs his mouth, who called Bozell an unrepentant racist, committing criminal injuria, and defamation of character against the ambassador to South Africa. That's Fikile Mbalula. That's how you behave. You don't handle things internally. You handle things in a criminal fashion, my friend. Yep. Mulder said the Freedom Front Plus viewed the so-called dissatisfaction from Lamol and Durko as a distraction from what he describes as a real issue, Washington's demands for resetting trade relations. Fikile Mbalula says the Freedom Front Plus is part of the government national unity. There is a clearinghouse to raise such issues. This posturing to a certain demographic in our society will not take us forward. Now, that's racist, a certain demographic. That's racial dog whistle. That's what that is. Well, I have a demographic for you, people who tell the truth there, Fikile Mbalula. And as far as your behavior, you're a Secretary General of a political party. Shut your cake-hole. You have no business commenting on the ambassador and his comments. As you say, there's a clearinghouse for that. The clearinghouse for that is Durko, not the ANC Secretary General. Shut your cake-hole and be quiet. People need to quit asking questions about refugees in this stream. Very disrespectful. I'm busy. Standard Bank exceeds targets en route to record 49 billion profit. Corporate investment banking unit does the heavy lifting. Standard Bank has outperformed the targets it set out in 2021, nearly doubling its profit. So South Africa's economy is in the crapper, but Standard Bank is rolling up the cash. Good for them. Look at that, 49 billion, a record earnings for Standard Bank. 3.6 trillion rand in assets, the largest in Africa's banking sector. Return on equity of 19%. Wow, that is pretty incredible. That is pretty incredible. Pretty amazing. Going very well there for Standard Bank in an economy that sucks. Yep. Oh, boy. Hang on a second here. Just a second here. God bless it. My head is all fuzzy here, so apologies. People just won't let go of this. So, I'll drop everything I'm doing to answer people's personal desires to find things out. All right, so... Okay. Where the hell's it at? Oh, my goodness. God bless it. Why am I not finding what I'm looking for here? See, this is very annoying. I'm not finding what I'm looking for here. Okay, hang on. I know one way I can find it. Okay. God bless it. That's why it didn't save. I thought I should have saved. Okay, very frustrating. All right, so see what happens when people have to have answers to things that aren't appropriate at the time? This is what happens. Okay, this is what happens. All right, so. Back to the news now. Back to the news. Well, Mel and Pete Fillon, these clowns, got arrested. Frauds, total makeup. The outcome that we want by the communists is we want to go back to mud huts and get crap in your own drinking water. Thank you, Jean-Bobby Jean. 70 rand. Thank you for that. Yeah. Shoplifting groceries. Yep, they've been arrested in Florida, and hopefully they will be imprisoned for their alleged crimes, assuming they're guilty. Apparently they have them on camera doing it over a long period of time. They're being held on a $10,000 bond. Police said they carried a 6-month retail theft scheme from August through March, targeting a public supermarket. Yep. 52 transactions in which they stole stuff. Well, they had it coming. Reality stars react to their arrest. Here, look at these pimped up bimbos. Yeah, Mel Fillon on the right. Reality stars Bev Stain, Rhonda Erasmus, and Crystal Kay have reacted to the arrest of Mel and Pete Fillon. The couple allegedly shoplifted groceries worth more than $5,300. The arrest came after years of controversy linked to their Tammy Taylor nails business and their fraudulent asylum seeking in the States. And of course, his admission that he's an outright blatant racist. You can have them back. We didn't ask for them. They came here and violated our immigration laws by coming here as tourists and then apparently declaring asylum illegitimately. So you can have them back anytime. Would you like them now? Feel free to take them back. Maybe they can hang out at polls more. The South African economic outlook as geopolitical tensions rise globally. West House, you said they're in survival mode, but look at what they took. Exactly. Prosecco and high-end water. Yeah, exactly. Exactly right. Yes, the impact of the Middle East could jeopardize South Africa's post-economic recovery. Excuse me? Recovery? What recovery? There's no recovery. Before the recent geopolitical shocks, 2025 was viewed as a turnaround year for South African economy, buoyed by strong global metal prices. So these two gentlemen are trying to hoodwink you into believing the South African economy was recovering and doing well. From 0.5% growth in 2024 to 1.1% in 2025 is not exactly a recovery. From 0.5% to 6% would be a recovery. From 0.5% to 4.75% would be a recovery. 0.5% to 1.1% is below inflation, which means your country is worth less, and below population growth, which means you're poor. So there you go. Remember Marcus Eusta from Steinhoff, the man who purportedly offed himself on a beach near Hermanus? Well, his former home has just been snapped up for 105 million rand. There you go. The Voelklip estate in Hermanus, once owned by Steinhoff CEO Marcus Eusta, has been sold for a record 105 million. Safe Hermanus confirmed the sale of the property, which comprises 2 adjoining plots measuring about 7,000 square meters with extensive buildings overlooking Walker Bay. The property, long regarded as one of the most prominent private homes in Hermanus, previously formed part of the Rupert family's property holdings before later being owned by Eusta. This is the property he was residing at the time of his death. According to Property Time, most expensive home ever sold in South Africa was for $290 million back in 2016. Wow. Today, that would be worth $700 million based on inflation. So you see that the rand is worth less than half what it was in 2016. Wow. $105 million for that. Well, energy transition is inevitable, according to Lungile Mashile. She tells us that it's inevitable. Of course, she's smoking crack cocaine here. Local manufacturing energy sector is a strategic investment opportunity that can unlock jobs, growth, and resilience if we make it bankable. Unfortunately, you cannot accomplish that. The question is simple. Will we continue importing our future, or will we manufacture it? For the Public Investment Corporation and other institutional investors, this is not just industrial policy debate. It's a strategic opportunity to drive growth, create jobs, and deliver long-term returns for clients. And she goes on to talk about China. So justify local solar manufacturing, required installed capacity depends on which part of the value chain you want to localize. Industry benchmarks and global experience suggest the following. So she's saying in the South African context, they will be able to make small parts for integration, such as modular assembly, mounting structures, electrical balance of system components, battery pack and assembly, and enclosures of wind towers, and blade repair, transformers. Most of what she's talking about are small items with low margins. The Chinese make those. Why in the world would they rely on South African suppliers to make them when your work ethic is uneven at best, with third world work ethic, people who disappear for a week for HIV funerals, massive rates of HIV, illness, tuberculosis, roads that are falling apart, need for security, uneven supply chains, no energy production whatsoever. Why in the world would manufacturers build solar parts or wind turbine manufacturing facilities in South Africa? How could you possibly make a profit? How do you get a return on investment in South Africa, given the fact you have to supply your own electricity, your own security, build your own roads, provide your, I'm sorry. She lives in a fantasy world. She's acting as if you live in a first world country where you have law and order and infrastructure. If that were the case, You can make the case for a small country like South Africa trying to compete in this. But there's no way South Africa can compete in this industry. If Germany can't compete in this industry, South Africa can't compete in this industry. The only thing that South Africa has that Germany doesn't have is an inexpensive workforce. But that's because it's uneducated, ill-equipped, and poorly trained. That's why it's inexpensive. Well, Tom Eaton has opening his cake hole again. So here's an op-ed appearing in Times Live. Why this little boozer gets freaking, attention and gets, I don't, what a clown. The audacity is jarring, but this is how Bozell rolls. The new ambassador has always been at odds with courts. No, he hasn't. This guy is just concocting a story here. He says, I understand why many South Africans wouldn't want to give Bozell the benefit of the doubt. After all, this is the same man who in 1987 led a conservative lobby group trying to demonize the ANC as a terrorist organization and pressure the Reagan administration not to meet with O.R. Tambo. I realize that Tom Eaton is about 12 years old and wasn't alive in 1987 and doesn't know that the ANC was a designated terrorist group. And that's why people didn't want them meeting, because we didn't negotiate with terrorists, but George Shultz was going to do that. Perhaps his inability to understand history and political developments as well as diplomacy and national security are beyond his 12-year-old comprehension. He said, I understand why Durko took the step issuing demarche. I don't care what your court said. Bozell is perfectly entitled to say it in private, whether it's to his January 6th insurrection, his son, or his hairdresser putting the finishing touches of magnificent tribute to the 1980s. See, this guy is just a nasty piece of human feces, this Tom Eaton. Nothing but insults here. Nothing but insults to the ambassador. To the ambassador. Tom Eaton moaning about his hairstyle. Dude, your hairstyle is the same damn thing. The same damn thing. You also have a beard. What is his problem? Just a hateful little shrew. Someone who never grew up a life of privilege and being handed an income. Shame. After a bit of moral self-lobotomy, it must have been not easy to care about the 2024 court ruling when Trump was found guilty of 34 counts of falsifying business records. If sexual abuse couldn't nudge the Bozell needle, why would a conviction for a bit of light fraud change anything? Well, Trump wasn't convicted of the fraud. The Trump organization was convicted of the fraud. And he is the chairman, hence his name is on it. And it wasn't fraud. It was a ramrod case. So I'm sorry. Where is your outrage about Pala Pala or digital vibes or the arms deal, Mr. Eaton? And that's not whataboutism. That's a statement of fact. You want to talk about presence? I talk about Pala Pala. Yeah, anyway. Now, News 24 goes to great lengths to confuse the story and mislead you with more propaganda. This one's about the Ackerland Broederij. I don't know what this clown Peter Dutoy is up to, but he is trying to claim by parsing words that News 24 told the correct story, but they didn't. They've been misleading. Ackerland, the battle for truth in the era of blatant lies and disinformation, spread by this very network. This is the clown who went on air and called disinformation and propaganda information that came directly from his newspaper. This is all made up. This is right-wing propaganda. Dude, you were caught on camera. You have zero credibility. You didn't even know that the data that was assembled by your own newspaper. You're such an asshat. Judge Bernard Ngope's finding in the Ackerland matter before the Press Council Appeals Committee is a victory for truth and fact-based journalism. It affirms the importance of rigorous and independent news reporting amid a torrent of disinformation and lies spread by organizations and social media actors who have no regard for accuracy, honesty, and fairness. I do think that he's talking about News 24. This organization and its parent, Media 24, committed a very serious offense. They showed a photograph of the Stoltz family and ran a headline that was a pure poppycock lie. The family had nothing to do with cockroaches or claims or complaints about their refugee resettlement in America. And as a consequence, their family in South Africa was harassed. Their lives were threatened because of the actions. And I am filing a press ombudsman's complaint against this pathetic excuse for a media outlet because they have failed to respond to my request for them to make a correction on that. They've had 3 weeks. You get 30 days, so their clock is running out. And I will file a grievance against this corrupt organization that sits here and lies. These people here sit and say the importance, a torrent of disinformation lies spread by organizations and social media actors who have no regard for accuracy, honesty, or fairness. That is News 24. They have no regard for accuracy, honesty, or fairness because they don't respond to requests when they damage the lives and put the very safety of South Africans in jeopardy. These are the same people that put the life of Twatterboss in jeopardy because they disagree with what he posted on X. Who are they? These are the same people that misled us about Ackerland Broederij. Ackerland Broederij was not expropriated by the government. It was, and then it was returned. Exactly. So get the story straight. It was expropriated illegally, and then it was returned. And then they had no option but to sell it because the pressure was placed on them. The handwriting was on the wall. They sold it for a fraction of the value. And now it isn't being returned to the land claimants because it was never for the land claimants. It was for the Qatars. And a Saudi prince reportedly owns the land. But none of that is covered in this bullshit op-ed piece by Peter Dutoit, who once again spreads misinformation, disinformation. He said for too long a fiction has been peddled by some MAGA conservatives in South Africa. Auckland is an example of white-owned land being seized by the state, of expropriation without compensation, unscrupulous government at war with white harbors. Well, in fact, it was seized by the state, and then the courts returned it. He doesn't mention that. The narrative is dominant, especially in the United States, where the president depends on lies, half-truths, and myths. No, we don't depend on lies, half-truths, and myths. That's what News 24's Peter Dutoit does on a frequent basis, and the Media 24 empire does this repeatedly, as they did putting a photograph of the Stoltz family endangering the safety of their parents. These people are irresponsible. They have no regard for public safety, they have no regard for people. They deem themselves to be great investigative journalists, and their investigations are dishonest. They frequently omit facts. Objectivity requires them to tell the truth. The truth of the matter is that the state did not expropriate Auckland Broderie. However, it did attempt to. It did take the property under expropriation and failed to compensate the people adequately. And therefore, the courts overturned the expropriation. It was returned to the owners, and then the property was worthless because of the action. So they sold it for what they could get for it because the state pressured them. You don't have to expropriate the property to destroy the value and worth of people's private property. Litigation does that, paying for lawyers when you have done nothing wrong because the state is criminal and seeks to take your property and you're trying to defend it. Utter nonsense. These people live in a fantasy world. So Peter Dutoit vociferously defending his illegitimate position yet again. And we just saw, I ran a story a couple days ago. Thank you, Vitman Africa, for the $2 super chat. I just ran a story a couple days ago about South Africa's News 24 misleading the public again, claiming that Trump used mock evidence. No such thing existed. Also showing you that the lack of context in News 24 creating fairy tales and fantasies, misleading its readers, putting opinion into a news story. The term mock evidence, which has not been proven, is an opinion, not news. And that's what News 24 put into their story. Once again, spreading disinformation, which is what they're good at, misinformation. Yep, that is what they're very good at. And so let's continue the story as we move on from South Africa to Zimbabwe. Yes, folks, in neighboring Zimbabwe, the generals who committed a coup in ousting Robert Mugabe, well, now they don't want to let the coup plotter, Emerson Mnangagwa, the appointed crocodile who has no legitimate basis to be president. He was never elected president and stole an election in Zimbabwe. And before that, he was appointed president illegally. He wasn't even a public official. The man had fled to South Africa and had his vice presidency abrogated because he fled to South Africa claiming he'd been poisoned by ice cream at a county fair. Yes, that's right. The crocodile, an illegitimate, thieving, lying piece of human sludge who runs Zimbabwe, courtesy of the gangster political party known as ZANU-PF. Retired Zimbabwean generals and war veterans oppose extending President Emerson Mnangagwa's term, calling it an unconstitutional coup. Well, his mere presence is unconstitutional. Let's just get into that. Vice President Constantina Chiwenga, who is a former general who helped install this clown on the throne, along with others, are resisting the proposed amendments, deepening party rifts. Zimbabwe will soon likely break into a faction of ZANU-PF against a faction of ZANU-PF, and as usual, Zimbabweans will suffer. Kenya, massive state house budget raises eyebrows. Wow, interesting there. Kenya's state house budget is drawing renewed scrutiny after the latest supplementary estimates pushed the allocation to $130 million per year. That's nearly double the 8.6 billion shillings that had been there previously. It's fueled comparisons with what it actually costs to operate the White House in the United States. Of course, Kenya's GDP is a fraction of the United States, and its population is much smaller than the United States. So interesting that it would have a budget for its state house that would be as large as the White House. France returns a sacred drum, which was looted during the Colonial era, to Côte d'Ivoire. France returned a sacred talking drum looted during the colonial period to Ivory Coast as part of a nearly decadal effort by the French government to return cultural artifacts. It was the first such return by France to Ivory Coast and was part of a broader campaign The Jijija Akokwa, a massive carved wooden drum once used by the Achan people of the Abidjan region to communicate between villages, was looted by French colonial authorities in 1916, is among 140 looted artifacts Ivory Coast has asked France to return. Yes, it's lovely. It will now be placed in a building where it will be decrepit, fall apart, and lost to history within 2 decades. Because, of course, they won't protect it. A court for the weak. Why major powers ignore the ICC, why Africa stands trial. This according to Osman Mirgani. Well, this once again is an opinion piece. This is in the toilet paper of record, the Independent Line. And this story is about how the International Criminal Court is so mean to Africans. Oh, it's terrible. It's only picking on Africans. Ooh. The ICC's investigation has spanned Uganda, the DRC, Congo, Kenya, Libya, Mali, and Central African Republic, creating a model that African leaders have long condemned as selective justice. Except that's a dishonest story. The ICC has also not only done investigations, but prosecuted people from Serbia, Bosnia-Herzegovina, Croatia, Kosovo. Yes, white people. That's right. Yep, it's also looked in other places. Now, I'm not a proponent of the International Criminal Court because it's an extrajudicial body that lacks sovereignty over its members. And its effort to reach investigations into places where it has no sovereignty is unwarranted. But this whining about it being an African, anti-African, the Africans are the ones that signed up for it. They're the ones that demanded that it be there. They're the ones that demanded. But see, the International Criminal Court lacks the authority to do what it does. It has charged people in countries where it has no authority whatsoever. I mean, for instance, Vladimir Putin is not under ICC jurisdiction. Neither Russia nor Ukraine have ever signed the statute, the Rome Statute. Therefore, they're not subject to it. But the ICC has issued a warrant for Vladimir Putin's arrest. That's ludicrous. They have no authority. And so from this standpoint, I agree with this African. But he does it from purely a black supremacy standpoint. I do it from a purely logical, legal standpoint. The ICC has exceeded its mandate and has no such authority. No such authority. However, these member states are members of it, and they've agreed to abide by its terms and participate in its process. But if they refuse to do so, they should leave it. It's as simple as that. This isn't rocket science. Pretty simple stuff. Some people asked me in a previous Night Owls a couple nights ago about, or maybe it was the daytime, about mines. So they asked how the Iranians are mining. Well, here you go, folks. Great story, New York Times, sharing with people the different types of mines. Drifting mines, which they put out to sea, a moored mine, which I said are anchored to the seabed, and you got a bottom mine, which sits on the floor and it springs up when it finds, it detects something. So a limpet mine is one that you have divers go up and attach to the hull of a ship, and then they get away. So these are different types of mines that the Iranians have put out there, and that's why ships are being attacked. That's what's going on. There you go. So interesting there. Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of War, vows to reopen a key Strait of Hormuz as U.S. measures to calm the oil markets are not succeeding. He said the U.S. military would stop Iran from choking off the Strait of Hormuz, but did not say how. I agree. How are you going to do it, buddy? Let us know. He said a news conference that disruption in the Straits were something that we're dealing with. Don't need to worry about it. General Kane, Chairman of Joint Chiefs, said the U.S. military was targeting Iran's ability to lay mines in the Strait. Well, that should have been done from the outset. Why it's happening 2 weeks into the conflict is beyond me. CNN, the propaganda network, aired 4 minutes of state media from Iran. Wow. They don't even show President Trump's speeches, but they show 4 minutes from Iran. CNN aired a 4-minute statement broadcast on Iranian television, purportedly from the new supreme leader. The network's uninterrupted airing of Iranian state television drew the ire of the White House. The war with Iran entered its 13th day. The new Islamic Republic's leader is the son of Khamenei, who was killed in the first strikes. Fake news CNN just aired 4 straight minutes of uninterrupted Iranian state TV run by the same psychotic and murderous regime that has prided itself on brutally slaughtering Americans for 47 years. That was a response from the White House, and it's a warranted one. China has adopted a South African policy to oppress its racial minorities. A unity law forcing all children in China to learn in Mandarin, suppressing minority rights. The Sinization of the faith and the people of China. Yep, there you go. We'll talk more about that. I'll make a video of that when I feel better. Trump has removed sanctions on Russian oil to help it flow amid the Iran conflict. This is a lifeline for Vladimir Putin, courtesy of the conflict in the Middle East. He says it's short term, but really, we'll see. The BBC will air 2 long-lost Doctor Who episodes from the 1960s, available for streaming, folks. Yes. Over 6 decades of Doctor Who, the intergalactic adventures of adversaries have included evil robots, rampaging Yeti, and the BBC, which erased many early shows of the now iconic sci-fi TV series because the BBC are a bunch of idiot state-owned enterprise. The film charity announced Friday that it has found 2 previously lost 1960s episodes among the possessions of a deceased collector. They've been restored by BBC archivists and will be available next month on the broadcaster's streaming service. The discovery leaves 95 episodes still missing from the adventures of the galaxy-hopping alien known as the Doctor, which debuted in 1963. The attitudes to archiving back in 1960s television was really very different from today, and lots of material was junk, says Justin Smith, cinema professor at England's De Montfort University and chair of the Trustees of Film is Fabulous, which works to preserve cinema and television history. Smith told the BBC that charity found film cans containing the 2 rediscovered black and white episodes, The Nightmare Begins and Devil's Plant, among a collection of film aficionado who had died. The collector's estate wishes to remain anonymous. The episodes aired during the show's 3rd season in 1965 and feature William Hartnell, the first of more than a dozen actors to play the Doctor, in a story involving arch-villains, the Daleks, pepper-pot-shaped metal aggressors, whose favorite word was exterminate. The discovery is the first since 2013, when 9 missing episodes were found in a storeroom of a television relay station in Nigeria. The newfound episodes will feature Peter Purvis, who played the Doctor's sidekick Stephen Taylor in 46 installments of the show. 27 of mine are still missing, but I'm delighted that 2 have been found, said the 87-year-old Purvis. It's rather sad, but it's great when some turn up. Doctor Who, which ran from 1963 to 1980, was revived in 2005. Yep. Its most recent series, starring Nkuti Gatwa as the Doctor, aired in 2025, shows due to return with an as-yet undisclosed actor in the role. Well, 2 long-lost Doctor Who episodes. That is awesome. I'm a Doctor Who fan, and I like Peter Purvis. His character was fantastic. Great to see that some have been recovered. Cuban president acknowledges talks with the Trump administration. The communists are talking because they're under pressure. President Miguel Diaz-Canel, whose country is rapidly running out of fuel, said the talks were based on respect for the political systems of both countries. We don't respect communism. Don't dream on, buddy. No one's respecting your political system. Canada is finally deciding to do its job and defend the Arctic. Prime Minister Mark Carney said Canada would build 3 bases in the region. Notice how they put all the women up front? Well, it's so woke in Canada. 3 women in the crowd, and they're all up front. The government also plans to improve infrastructure and airports in the north. Prime Minister Mark Carney of Canada unveiled a multi-billion-dollar plan today to significantly build the country's military capacity in the Arctic, including establishing new bases, or yesterday actually, new bases in a region where the country has had to rely on the United States to ensure its defense. Yes, because they've been lazy, and we've been defending them for a century. And finally, the Canadians want to do their damn job. The United States has opened trade probes and targeting 60 countries over alleged forced labor practices, including Canada, China, Mexico, Japan, the European Union are among the 60 countries subject to the latest probes. Probes being conducted under Section 301 of the Trade Act of 1974, which looks into potential unfair trade practices by trading partners. Those found in violation could face tariffs. Another way to hit them with tariffs. Australia, China, Canada, India, Mexico, Japan. Wow. But you know, South Africa isn't listed there. Isn't that interesting? South Africa isn't listed. So, gee, we're so aggressive towards South Africa, we don't even do that. Trump has found another trade tariff tool in his kit box. Yeah, there you go. That's pretty cool. Old Dominion shooter, a terrorist, convicted and sentenced to prison, yet a judge overturned the Department of Justice under the Trump administration's call for a 20-year sentence, released, murdered a lieutenant colonel in the United States Army. Old Dominion shooting being investigated as an act of terrorism because it was an act of terrorism. Lieutenant Colonel Brandon Shaw was murdered. 2 other people wounded. Authorities investigating a shooting at a Virginia college Thursday that left 1 victim dead and 2 injured in an act of terrorism. The gunman opened fire short before 11 a.m. in an ROTC classroom at Old Dominion. The victim was Brandon Shaw, an Army Lieutenant Colonel, ROTC instructor. 2 other U.S. Army personnel were injured. The gunman, a former member of the Army National Guard who previously pled guilty to terrorism-related charges, was also killed in the shooting. Well, he wasn't killed in the shooting. He was beaten to death by the students. Dominic Evans, special agent in charge of the agency's Norfolk field office, said that he shouted Allahu Akbar and was subdued by students who rendered him no longer alive. Yeah, they beat him to death. While law enforcement officials have not yet confirmed a motive, federal authorities said in a previous case that Jalloh was involved in a plot to murder U.S. military personnel. Now, let's put this in perspective. Mr. Jalloh is not an American. Mr. Jalloh is a terrorist from Sierra Leone who was allowed into this country under previous regimes, got permanent residency, enlisted in the military, was granted citizenship because of that, and then supported ISIS. Authorities said in 2016 that Jalloh attempted to provide funds to people hoping to join the Islamic State terrorist group. He pled guilty to attempt to provide material support, was sentenced to 11 years in prison, as well as 5 years supervised release. Bureau of Prison Records show that he was released in 2024 under federal law. Defendants must serve at least 85% of the sentence, even when they receive credit for good behavior. In his sentencing in 2017, he said, "This entire crime is not who I am, it's not who I plan to be, and it's not who I have been." Well, he obviously lied, and now we have a dead lieutenant colonel. Lieutenant Colonel Shah was professor of military science and department chair at the ROTC department. He was commended in 2023 for increasing enrollment by 50%. He enlisted in the Army in 2003 and was deployed in support of operations in Iraq and Afghanistan, had 2 Bronze Stars, and was murdered at home in Virginia by a radical Islamic fascist piece of human sludge who should have been in prison as the Trump administration sought. Terrorist suspect in deadly Old Dominion shooting was subdued by students. The FBI is investigating the attack as an act of terrorism by the shooter, Mohammed Baylor Jolah. Brave ROTC members in that room subdued him, and if not for them, I'm not sure what else he may have done. One of the students reportedly stabbed him. Cause of death is unknown. With more than 600 combat flight hours, Shah had numerous awards for his service, including 2 Bronze Stars. He's a pilot. Now, this story is more honest than CNN. It says he tried to procure weapons. They said he just tried to provide material support. Here it says he also tried to provide weapons. So the number on the gun that he used was obliterated at Old Dominion. The shooter who opened fire in a classroom at Virginia's Old Dominion University on Thursday in an attack being investigated as an act of terrorism had a gun with an obliterated serial number, potentially complicating investigators' efforts to determine how he got a man with a previous felony conviction obtained a firearm. Yeah. But here's the problem. The Trump Department of Justice warned the court they wanted 20 years. Judge gave him 11. He was free to kill. Didn't even serve 11 years. The Trump Justice Department sought double the judge's prison sentence for Mohammed Baylor Jolah, meaning that if it had been adopted, the accused Old Dominion assassin would still be in prison, not free to kill an Army war hero. Sentencing goes back to February 10th, 2017. With a new Trump team in office for 21 days, Jalloh had pled guilty to providing material support to ISIS. Prior to sentencing, U.S. District Court in Alexandria, the Trump Justice Department wrote the judge, a February 2nd memo, the United States submits that the recommended guideline sentence of 240 months would be sufficient. But District Judge Liam O'Grady, who is complicit in the murder of Lieutenant Colonel Shah, noted Jalloh's rough life and time in the Army National Guard, sentenced him to 11 years, about half the sentence sought by the prosecution, and now Lieutenant Colonel is dead. You had a terrible upbringing. You were able to overcome that and come here and become a naturalized citizen, go to college and work and join the National Guard. And then you took a 90-degree turn and radicalized very quickly. So this judge is responsible for the murder of Lieutenant Colonel Shah because of his sympathy for a terrorist. These people cannot be reformed. There is no coming back from their actions. This isn't shoplifting. Oh, I stole food because I was hungry. No, this was an attempt to murder Americans, and he accomplished it because of you, Judge. You're responsible for the death of Lieutenant Colonel Shah, a man with 600 combat flight hours. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. And here's the irony. Almost every ROTC professor of military science, that's the PMS, that's the Lieutenant Colonel position, almost every single one that teaches at our hundreds of universities around the country, it's their last assignment. There are rare exceptions where they return to the force, but almost all of them, it's kind of a reward, the last job they get. They get to be around their family, get to be home, not deployed by doing ROTC. It's the last assignment they ever do. He would have been retired after this, most likely. And now he's dead because of a stupid judge and his leniency. Who let this clown in the country in the first place? These feelings didn't develop here. Well, the Michigan shooter was a naturalized U.S. citizen from Lebanon. Well, Lebanon does have Christians and Druze, but I'm going to guess that Ayaan Mohammed Ghazali was possibly a Muslim. He came to the U.S. in 2011 on immediate relative visa as the spouse of a U.S. citizen. Excuse me? An armed man allegedly rammed his truck into Michigan synagogue on March 12th, was identified as a naturalized U.S. citizen born in Lebanon. Ayman Mohammed Ghazali was fatally shot by security officers when he drove through a hallway at Temple, Israel. None of the synagogue's staff, teachers, or 140 children at the daycare were injured. The security officer was hit by the vehicle, knocked unconscious, but no life-threatening injuries. He came to the United States in 2011 on immediate relative visa as the spouse of a U.S. citizen who was granted citizenship in 2016. So the spouse was granted citizenship in 2016, or he was. That's confusing. FBI is leading the investigation. Unbelievable. Majority of the Detroit area Jewish residents live in Oakland County, Michigan's second largest, roughly 1.3 million residents. Temple Israel has more than 12,000 members. So another terrorist attack? Most likely. What else would it be? Of course, the Homeland Security Department is currently not funded by the Democrats as America suffers sleeper cells and attacks by radical Islamic fanatics murdering American citizens and American war heroes. This is the country we live in. Democrats who hate America undermine our public safety by not funding the Department of Homeland Security. Yep, that's what they do. That's who they are. That's how little they care about the lives of American citizens. All 6 service members in the KC-135 tanker are dead. U.S. Central Command said the circumstances of investigating the loss of the aircraft was not due to hostile fire or friendly fire. KC-135. All 6 crew members aboard U.S. military refueling aircraft have been confirmed dead after it crashed in western Iraq. In a post on X, U.S. Central Command said the KC-135 Stratotanker refueling plane, which had a crew of 6, went down at 2 p.m. on March 12th while flying over friendly airspace during Operation Epic Fury. Circumstance incident under investigation of the loss of the aircraft was not due to hostile fire or friendly fire. Early reports claim 4 fatalities, but it's actually 6. The identities have not been released, pending notification of the next of kin. This is the 4th U.S. plane to come down in Operation Epic Fury. 3 shot down by the Kuwaitis over their airspace previously. Wow. And that is the news for today, folks. Thank you for tuning in to the news. Hang around for the chat after this. Be sure to hit the like button if you haven't done it already. Boy, our audience is half of what it was yesterday. All right. Show number is stamped at least 3 parts of Sodom. Yes. How many Christians hold any form of government office in Muslim countries? 0, to my knowledge. Yep. Did you hear about the case of Real Housewives got arrested? You obviously must have come here very lately. Yes, I covered the Filion story, and I'll do more on that later on when I feel better. Australia brought people into their country and became all citizens and hate Australia. Why Trojan horse yourself? Deport them all. We should do the same thing, Mark. We should do the same thing. Facts don't lie. Unfortunately, the fact is Islamists should be deported from Western countries. The fact is a 50-50 whether they might... Yep, exactly. Always mostly illegal immigrants doing these heinous crimes. Yep. A pocket knife going to see a boost in their sales. Possibly. Free by the Biden regime, but he was sentenced to only 11 years by a judge during the Trump administration. And the justice asked for 20 years. They gave him 11, and they let him out in 2024. He only served 9 years. Not 9 years. 2017, he went into prison. So he served 7 of the 11 years. But I guess he got credit for time served. Shylock doesn't like Doctor Who. I love Doctor Who. Yeah, Cockprot won a case and suddenly their comments are not behind a paywall. Funny how it works when they're forced to give an apology and they put it behind a paywall. Yeah, well, News 24 is an abusive network. Their behavior is reprehensible. Looks like government is coming for my weapon collectors accreditation. To those like me, they're coming for us. We might go from legal to illegal. Yeah, exactly. 2 more episodes I won't be watching. Well, I'm sorry, 1440. Why do you guys hate Doctor Who? That's your prerogative, but why be so nasty in the chat? If you don't like Doctor Who, then don't like Doctor Who. You know? Come on, seriously. Hang on a second here. Anyway, yeah. So give me a second here. I got to check on something very quickly here. This is not open. I got to open this up again. All right, that takes care of that. Okay, Peter did what? Oh, Sally says New York Times will watch my channel about the mines. Possibly. Afternoon, Chris. Did send you the template of the shirts via WhatsApp for U.S. store. Still waiting for my supplier. Okay, Apocalypse Ninja. Thank you for the $5. I didn't see it. I've got my whole head is foggy. My congestion from sinuses. I'm still ill. Today I go pick up my regular asthma medication. It's finally in, so hopefully that'll help. Yeah. Anyway. How the family of heart attack victim doing? I don't have an update on that case. Just a second here. Let me see if something came up here in a second. Okay, so he's out of immediate danger, and the surgery initially they said was going to be in 2 weeks because they needed him stabilized. Apparently stabilized, and his surgery will be in a week. All right, so okay, she has clean clothing to wear and a place to stay. So, all right, cool. So we've got her taken care of, courtesy of our connections in the White Army and the response of the folks out there in Utah. And so, yeah, thank you all. I don't know if Antoinette's group also came to the rescue because I actually got some sleep last night. Instead of, I worked until after 9, almost 10 o'clock last night for the Veterans Organization, came back and then got some sleep. Yeah, he is in stable condition in Salt Lake City, and his wife has a place to stay, courtesy of the generosity of South Africans who are there. So, good stuff. I reached out to a number of people out there, so that's good news. That's good news. Fonz gave $20 for the Utah Fund. Thank you, Fonz. That's kind of you to do that. Sure, I get that there. Those are just mines in general that Iran used. Nothing special about them being uranium. No one said they were Iranian mines. They're just mines. Yeah, that's what the Iranians are using. Okay. Didn't know that. Didn't know. What did Cranberry learn something? I'm not sure what it was. What is it? The staff is in Florida. First, Andre Stender. Now these two clowns. Who's next? Thanks, man. I'm going to be famous one of these days. One book at a time, says Helena. Okay. What did you publish a book? Max says, see my previous super chat. Stammtisch. Who's got a Stammtisch? Vitman Africa, $2. Thank you, Colonel. New Hampshire African. Hey, Vitman. Thank you for $2 super chat. Sorry, the owners of News 24 have ANC caters. Exactly. Post a piece called Puma Bozel. The last paragraph is very openly IOL. Okay, let me find that. I'm going to IOL. Thank you for that. I'll find that. Okay. What's it called? Pumba. Phumba. No, that doesn't come up that way. Let's just do Bozel. Puma Ambassador Bozel. There it is right there. What's the last part? Okay, it's long. Yeah, this guy, who cares about this guy? Sipo Singweza. Anyway, I don't care what he has to say. He's just acting like a fool. So I didn't see that. Thank you for that. I'll look into that later on. Well, 3 of the trolls quit my channel. I reached 124,000 subscribers today, and there were 3 trolls who obviously quit. They left because I'm now down to 124,003 when we started this broadcast. Now I have 124,000. Lemon said clinics open 24 hours and stop buying bread to get votes. Huh? What are you talking about, Amanda? West House. Okay, good evening. I don't see super chat. I'm going to have to go to over here to find Mad Max's super chat because I don't see any super chat. Earnings. Okay, super chats. Okay, Mad Max. My previous super chat. Okay. Okay, well, Mad Max says, see my previous super chat, but there's only one super chat from Mad Max here. Oh, here it is. Okay. Okay, here it is. Sorry. Let me see what this is. Okay, let's see what this is. Okay. Give me a second here. Application of the Convention of the Prevention and Punishment of the Crime of Genocide and the Godstrip Declarations of Intervention and Proceedings filed March 12th by Namibia, United States, America, Hungary, Fiji under Article 63 of the statute. Okay. Namibia, United States, America, Hungary, and Fiji each filed in the registry of the court a declaration of intervention under Article 63 in the case concerning application. Pursuant, whatever the construction of the convention states, each of these states has the right to intervene in the proceedings. If the state exercises this right, the construction given the judgment. In availing themselves the right to intervention conferred, each state relies on the status as party. Full text of the declaration can be found on the court's website. Okay, well, this is saying that these states are going to intervene, so I have to go to the ICJ website. ICJ website. Okay, Home International Court of Justice. Let's see, here it is. Okay. So here's the original document, not the one posted there. This is March 13th, that's today. So let's see the 4 declarations. Okay, declaration of these states, Spain, Turkey. Where's the United States at? Okay, let's read what this says. The honor to attach the declaration by the government of the United States, intervention. Okay. Okay. For the purposes of intervention, I hereby appoint Reed Rubenstein, legal advisor, agent. So, okay. South Africa's application acknowledged the attacks in Israel, but it nevertheless contends that Israel's self-defense measures were inconsistent with Israel's obligations under the convention. To avoid any doubt, the United States affirms in the strongest terms possible that the allegations of genocide against Israel are false, that they are also, unfortunately, nothing new. The United States recalls that international fora have been misused to level false charge of genocide against State Israel since at least 1976 as part of a broader campaign to delegitimize the state of Israel and the Jewish people. Only after Hamas launched its assault of mass rape, murder, and kidnapping on October 7th, the pro-Hamas actors, including the Republic of Iran, were already falsely charging Israel once again with genocide. The United States, as the party to the convention, the case, the convention is invoked as a, okay, United States, okay. So what do they want here? Okay. Israel, okay, United States, constructions, so, So basically, the United States has filed this arguing against it. They're intervening in the case. The United States has become involved in the case law with these other countries, no doubt Namibia, in favor of South Africa. The United States has intervened because they're saying there's no intent. You have to have intent for genocide. There's no intent here. Basically, that's what it says, based on my initial reading of it. There's a lot more to it than that, but that's, you're asking for my opinion. There it is. Yep. Golden tickets. Now I feel like chocolate. What are you talking about, cranberry? That's how in tourist visas went all over podcasts and they were unfairly persecuted, thought they could get asylum. Yeah, because they're frauds. They're frauds. No one wants them back. Well, we don't want them. They're yours. So she said they're in survival mode, but look what they bought. Yeah, that's Persian. Yep. All right, I'm back to where I was earlier. Okay, back down to the bottom. Let's see what people have had in here since. Please check the WhatsApp I sent you when you get a chance. Sorry, I've been scarce. I've been traveling. So I've seen bye to my family. Oh, that's from Monster Max. Okay. Okay, Monster Max, you're going to have to send me a text message. A text message with a subject line or something like that saying, you know, because, I mean, I can't, I don't know which account is yours in my WhatsApp. Sorry. Gotta let me know. Okay, sorry. Thank you for the 300 Rand super chat. Okay, Max, because I got Mad Max and Monster Max, and I don't have you listed there, so I'm confused as to who it is. Square Eyes this weekend. Rugby and pro bass fishing class in Knoxville. Wow, these guys are living my dream. That sounds like fun, Mark. The nuclear weapons that South Africa dismantled. Don't know the status of them. As far as I know, they were dismantled and demilitarized. Excuse me. Still 3 UIs and still promoted major in this system that apparently counts as leadership. Who got 3 DUIs? You sent a letter to Doko to send a demarche to Muslim ambassador in Pretoria in the UN to remove hate speech from the Quran. There you go. That's good. That's good. Richard Berwick says, it's really a big shame you forgot who Vilimenki is, the 2-year-old who got executed. Who are you talking to? What are you talking about? I'm not even talking about that. That's a AfriForum documentary about that murder of that child and her parents. What are you talking about? Who forgot that, Richard? What are you talking about? Where does this crap come from? Where does this crap come from? What is he talking about? What? You like the black gay doctor that's woke singing and dancing BS? What are you talking about, Greek woman? What are you guys making up bullshit here? What the hell are you talking about here? I said I like Doctor Who. Who said anything about the black Doctor Who? Didn't say anything about the black or female Doctor Who. I said I like Doctor Who. You people are just trying to start shit here, you know? Go somewhere else. Hey, Chris, what's going on? Chris Hailers. I'm glad. Oh, you're still there. I think that's your point. You're still in South Africa. Okay. Yeah, the Steinhall thing was terrible. Let's go Bulls. West House says, let's go Bulls. All right, I don't feel well enough to do the game, but now I'm encouraged to do the game because the 1,400 Rand, just for that reason, tomorrow on Rugby and Senate, the Bulls game. Yeah, I'll take some meds and stomach through it probably. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. Anyway, 70% inquiries from white South African returning South African. Huh? There's a reported 7% jump in inquiries from white South African returning South Africa. What are you talking about? There's no such thing. Where are you getting this bullshit from? Where are these trolls coming from? This bullshit. Just people popping in here, throwing their nondescript trolling comments in here. Bertolt Brecht. What about Bertolt Brecht? Complicated writer to follow. Very long sentence. Yes, I'm aware, Charles. He's stolen my content. He's going to remove it or he's going to get a copyright strike. Hey, Ingrid. Malcolm. Malcolm says, Whiskey Tango Fox, where were you yesterday? I nearly had to pay a psychologist to counsel me. Well, sorry, Malcolm, but, people keep telling me to rest, and then the one time I do it, people get bent out of shape. Good Lord. Looks like the government's... Okay, I already saw that. All right, I already been here. Now let's get back to the current stuff, okay? Oh, still on the show. Yeah, Chris, I'm glad to see you're still here. Who the hell is NIA? National Intelligence Agency. I'm not going to call the Bulls supporters trolls. Not at all. Yep. Do I have a Bulls jersey yet? What planet are you people on, man? Good God, I've got like a dozen Bulls jerseys. I wear them all the time. What is going on here today? I mean, I've only been doing this for 6 years. I've only been broadcasting for 5.5 years on Rugby Ascendant, or 5 years. And people are asking, do I have a Bulls jersey? I have over 150 rugby jerseys. I have about 35, or maybe 40 Springboks jerseys. I have Bulls jerseys. I have Stormers jerseys. I have Southern Kings jerseys. I have Sharks jerseys. I have Cheetahs jerseys. What the heck? And I even have Western Province jersey. Oh, you just sent it. Thank you. So I will save that so I got Monster Max. Oh, that, okay. I never knew that was you, man. Okay. All right. Well, I guess, okay. Got it. Thank you, Monster Max. Thank you for that. That makes all the sense in the world now. Okay. All right. Thank you for that. Okay. Thank you for that. Okay. Cool beans. Yeah. Take care of yourself. Yeah, well, I tried to take care of myself, Elena, but then Malcolm is bubbed out. He's got to see a psychologist because I missed one night. East Coast says Bulls are champs. No, actually, that falls to the Lions this year. What's 90? All that, yeah. You never mentioned U.S., Namibia, Hungary, Fiji, challenge the ICJ. What? Challenging the ICU, the intensive care unit? What are you talking about, man? There is no new Doctor Who. We don't know who he is. He hasn't been announced yet. What are you guys talking about? The most recent Doctor Who is no longer Doctor Who. There's a new Doctor Who. It hasn't been announced yet. We don't know who it is. I try to get some rest in. All right. That cough, please have it checked as erectile dysfunction at a hospital. What? How the hell is a cough erectile dysfunction? Lynn, what are you talking about? Thank you, Mad Max. I'm confused. I need new ones. Gotcha, Mark. Give one to my local bar to hang on the wall. Can the Bulls win the RC and not choke like the Stormers? Possibly. I think it's possible. Yes, East Coast Ostrich, I've mentioned that Nas is here. No, I mentioned, Neil. Gosh, you guys tune in late. And okay, thank you, Ms. V, for subscribing. I mentioned quite clearly that there was a black Doctor Who. I read his name off when I read the story. Things are happening going for medicals. Okay, cool. Do you have a SWD jersey? I do not, Cutty. I do not. Definitely my color, blue. Oh, National Intelligence Day. You talking about South Africa? Okay. I sound like a hoarder. What the hell? What is going on here? What is going on with the attacks in the chat today? Yeah, the chat is confusing the confused. You're right, Red. I'm getting attacked by everybody here, man. How long is the flight from South Africa to the U.S.? Depending on the wind, 14.5 to 17 hours to Atlanta. What attacks? I've been attacked at least 6 times in the chat that I've just read. People accuse me of liking some gay black Doctor Who. People accuse me of this, accuse me of that. What the hell? Yeah, maybe it's Friday the 13th. Maybe y'all just are bat crap crazy day. I don't know what's going on. Oh, Red says more like 8 times. Yeah, you're welcome, Nikki. At least yours was a real question. It wasn't a trolling question. Yeah, some silly chats tonight. Nas and the Colonel on Rugby and Senate. Yeah, I don't know if Nas is going to come on. I think he just wants to be on his own and live quietly. So, we'll see. We'll see. I'm in contact with Nas. I've heard from him since he's arrived in the States. Okay. I think he wants to be left alone. Yeah, I think that's what's going on, Just Another Girl. People are not reading or not paying attention, and they're saying things that make no sense. Nadine's best friend or family land USA this morning, now on their way to the new home. Oh, happy to get you. Thank you. That'd be great, Kotke. Double X large. Those could be dismantled. Okay, late again. Hey, LV, what's going on? Well, Friday the 13th. What can you say? In fact, let me check on something here very quickly. Oh, come on. There we go. Oh, that's why it wound up in the wrong place. Boy, WhatsApp is acting funny. I need to change this. Oh, no. Okay, there we go. Okay. Busy listening, and now suddenly my YouTube went to some scooting me without clicking anything. Laughing out loud, all the craziness. Yeah, it's a crazy chat today. I think people are smoking crack. Mark says, watch Lucy's troll lose and go to bed. I can't go to bed. I've got to go to the clinic, which is a half-hour drive, and then collect my meds, sit there. I wait till the afternoon on a Friday if I can, because the malingers will be gone and I don't have to wait a long time. I was busy listening now. Okay. Don't you think that using old messed up ships on remote control would be likely as cheap way of clearing mines in the strait? No, that's not the most effective way. We have mine clearers to do that. We should use mine clearers. Richard wants to know my real opinion about Texas. When did you ask that, Richard? I don't recall you asking my opinion about Texas. I don't care for Texas. It's too hot. It's too dusty. It's too non-Anglo-Saxon. It's just not my cup of tea. Nope. Been to Texas many times and does nothing for me. Nothing at all. I've never seen anything in Texas I found remotely appealing. Nothing wrong with Texas. People are welcome to it. Frankly, the politics in New Mexico are crappy, but I find New Mexico much more attractive and beautiful from a topographical standpoint. Hell, even Arizona is prettier, the northern part of Arizona. But New Mexico is much more lovely than Texas. Texas does nothing for me. Yeah, nothing at all. Nothing at all. So there's my thoughts on Texas. I'm nothing against Texas, but does nothing for me. Oh, Ronell says ED is emergency department. I thought it was erectile dysfunction. It said ED, Lynn. That's why I'm like, what the heck is ED? So Ronell's just told me it's emergency department. Well, we don't use emergency department. That's not a phrase we use in America. It's emergency room. We don't have ED. ED is erectile dysfunction in America. Mark says, Nas is a nice guy. Spent a whole rugby weekend with him. His 2 daughters got university scholarships in the U.S. His 1 daughter could represent USA in athletics. Yep. Yeah, no. ER, yeah, not ED. ED is erectile dysfunction, man. That's why when she said ED, I'm like, what the hell? Going into emergency, they're not going to do anything. All they're going to do is give me a cold pack. They'll just give me medicine. I've got medicine. That just masks the symptoms. Yeah. What do I think of Wyoming? Vodka modeling, is that a joke or are you serious? Wyoming is not for you. It's not for you. It's my exclusive domain. Borblom, thank you for your 12 months of membership. Awesome. Don't like heat. We had nearly 4 degrees in the Strand past year. I'm with you, man. That's why I like wintertime. We got some meals in WhatsApp. Okay. Forgot to mention we have Kuberg to do 2 emergency tests last week. Makes me think the public would have to. Yeah. It is a humorous confusion, light rain. I agree, but that's why I'm like, well, that's why I said it. I mean, ED, that's, I mean, look, you can't help but know about ED, whether you experience it or not, because it's constantly on TV. It used to be white men, but now white men aren't allowed to be in advertising anymore because of the racist Madison Avenue clowns. So all the people with erectile dysfunction now are black men. Isn't that ironic? All the myths about black sexual superiority and all the people with erectile dysfunction on television commercials are black. We even had a show called ER, guys. Come on, it was on for 20 years. There you go, Mark. ED, erectile diplomacy. Derko going hard against Bozell. Yep. Where would be the best place to be placed for FG? Well, Stanley Baker, that's a silly question. I'm not picking on you, but it's a silly question. That doesn't mean anything. What do you mean, where would be the best place to be refugee? Not in South Africa. I don't know what you mean. I don't know who you are. I don't know what weather you like. I don't know what your skills are. I don't know what your job prospects are. I don't know your age. I don't know your interest in anything. I mean, that's an impossible question to answer. You got to give me information. Do you like subtropical weather? Do you like Mediterranean climate? Do you like high-veld climate? Do you like semi-arid desert? Do you like mountains? Do you like forests? Do you like flat prairies? Do you do you want to be near people? Do you want to be away from people? How can I possibly answer questions like that? I can't believe people are still asking that question. I don't have an ED problem there, Ashlet. And even if I did, they prescribe pills for that, I hear. Yep. I'll have to go back and listen to the news. Okay, Siki, what's up? No, I got you, Ronell. I was like, what the heck are you talking about? ED? I mean, a cough. What does a chest cold have to do with erections? I don't get that one at all. I don't get that one at all. No snow would be great. Okay, well, no snow. That doesn't help me. Do you like Mediterranean or do you like subtropical? Okay. And my lawn does not have a lot of space. Watching a series about an ER at the moment called The Pit. I don't know that one. Okay, Stanley, you're going to have to give me more information. The Pit is great. I don't know. Landman is great. What a great series that was. Yeah. What a great series that was. Cooler climate with mountains, lakes, and forests. Less people, the better. A small rural town sounds excellent. Well, that sounds like the mountains, like Idaho, Utah, Wyoming. Yep. Just want to let you know I have sent email to your regards. Mad Max contact details. Okay. Jan Hendrik van der Merwe. Okay. Max, let me know if that's something that you need or want. Okay. Dylan. Oh, my goodness. My daughter said she loves the idea of snow, so I offered to buy her a snow shovel. Oh, Noah Wiley's in that. Okay. Pittsburgh Emergency Medical Hospital. Okay. Hedda did not like Landman. Okay, well, that's interesting. You're the first person I've heard that didn't like it. Arctic said the second season sucked, but I mean, the second season was great. Like tropical mountains. Well, you can't get both of those. Tropical mountains. We're not along the equator. So the best you can do is tropical or mountains. If you want tropical, Florida's a place for you. Mississippi, Alabama, subtropical. If you want mountains, you're going to have to go to the Appalachians. You could go to the Appalachians in North Georgia or into northwestern North Carolina and then not be too far from the tropical if you want to do that. But that's hours away. So Charles says Landman's brilliant. Loretta, okay. All right. It's not then. Oh. That's from March 4th. I thought I answered that question already. I don't know the answer to your question, Loretta. I think you're okay, but I can't guarantee that. I mean, that's interesting. How is Florida? Hot, humid, full of bugs and mosquitoes. Miserable. Not for me. Preferably cheaper housing, small town, warm weather, hours drive from the sea. Okay. Cheaper housing. Good luck with that, Stanley Baker. That's hard to come by anywhere in America now because Orville was funny. Yeah, I haven't seen that in ages. Cheaper housing has been a myth ever since Joe Biden became president, drove up the price of everything in this country by 100%. So it's ridiculously expensive for housing everywhere in the country. So small town, warm weather, and within an hour's drive of the sea. Well, North Carolina, Eastern North Carolina, Virginia, South Carolina maybe. But those are places that are good for that. The other option is the West Coast, but expensive. So Washington and Oregon and California are going to be expensive, be within an hour of the sea. So, but they've got warm weather. Well, California is anyway. Ken Baker. Who the hell's Ken Baker? No, Ken Baker was not the doctor. Tom Baker was the doctor. Tom Baker was the best doctor ever. Followed by what's his name? A little short one. He came after William Hartnell. Patrick Troughton. Patrick Troughton was the second best doctor. Maryland, Maryland will fit the bill. That's true. Maryland would fit the bill. That's a good point. But finding cheap housing, good luck with that. Yeah, well, Florida is like Durban. Yep. Yeah, my favorite is Tom Baker, followed by Patrick Troughton. And for a while, Patrick Troughton was actually my favorite. I liked him for a while, but I've gone back to Tom Baker. Tom Baker's still alive. He's in his 90s now. He looks very different. He's very emaciated, very thin, but he's healthy. Refugee, first on all the states. It's almost like different worlds. Well, Texas is not the closest to Afrikaans culture. That's a myth. That's untrue. Wyoming is far closer to Afrikaans culture than Texas, but nobody lives there. Live frugal, get investing, and build yourself up, then worry about getting something better. Yep. I'm going back into the film advertising industry. I will... best in place for you to accomplish that, Pete? Well, good luck with that. I mean, that's a pretty bold statement. I don't know how you can pull that off unless you know you have connections. Well, the film industry is primarily in Hollywood, although it locates in other places like North Carolina. But its main base is in Hollywood, so I'm really not sure what to tell you about that. Yep. The original Quantum Leap series, I didn't like it initially, but it grew on me. Scott Bakula's a good actor. I liked him. I didn't care for him in CSI. I didn't watch that with his stupid Louisiana accent he had, but Scott Bakula, the original Quantum Leap was great for its time. And then even better when he did Enterprise. He was fantastic as the captain of the Enterprise, as Jonathan Archer. That was not Enterprise, but no, what was that? It wasn't called Enterprise. Was it Enterprise? Maybe it was Enterprise. Yeah, Enterprise, yeah. Okay. What did the Reddit say? Oh, it's still in critical condition. Yeah, it is Enterprise, yeah. Yeah. Enterprise was fantastic, and it was killed prematurely by the woke crowd at Paramount, who've destroyed the Star Trek the Star Trek franchise. Now Star Trek is all about hating white men. That's the whole show, the whole premise of the show. The only white men on it are dressed up as aliens or they're homosexuals. Yeah, as if all white men are aliens or homosexuals. They've ruined Star Trek. They've absolutely ruined it. It's so woke, it's so pathetic, it's so disgusting, and it so betrays the idea that was behind Star Trek and the whole concept that was intended. It was supposed to be Wagon Train to the Stars, not hate white men, which is what the show has become. It's terrible. Yep. No, they've got all these different versions of the show, and they all suck. I came across a Star Trek movie that was made with Michelle Yeoh a year or 2 years ago. I never even heard of it. It's like Section 31, it's called. Never heard of it. don't know if it went straight to video or what the deal was. Yeah, the original's good. Next Generation is good. Deep Space Nine is Deep Space Nine is an underappreciated gem. Deep Space Nine was an absolutely incredible series that was so well done. So well done. That was an amazing series, Deep Space Nine. That was really, I mean, at the time I enjoyed watching it, but I didn't appreciate it then like I do now. It's absolutely amazing how good that show was. The storylines were brilliant. The concept was incredible. The tension was great when they brought in the Delta Quadrant, and they brought in the changelings and all that stuff, and the Jem'Hadar and all that. It was amazing. Star Trek Voyager had serious plot problems. Captain Janeway would have been court-martialed on every episode. She couldn't keep control of her ship. She lost control of her ship repeatedly. The Star Trek Voyager didn't find its niche until it was around for several years. And I think one of the episodes that finally made it a very good show was the episode where their DNA was altered and they became like lizard creatures, and they had to go back and save them from a planet. It was kind of weird, but yeah. Yeah, Voyager is such a silly thing. The only thing that saved Voyager was the introduction of 7 of 9. When 7 of 9 came on the show, it really changed the plot line for that series. But Enterprise was brilliant. That was one of the best shows ever. It was absolutely brilliant, Enterprise. And then they just canceled it, bastards. I have the entire series on DVD. Yeah. Battlestar Galactica is still my favorite sci-fi. Which one, Cecilia? The original Battlestar Galactica from the 1970s or the reboot? The reboot was very well done. Oh, I watched V. Yeah, V was very good. Eat the lizards. Diana ate the lizards. Remember that? The reboot. Yeah, the reboot was fantastic. Starbuck was fantastic. One of my favorite actresses. Yep. Yeah, she was really good. Firefly was best series ever made. Firefly was amazing. And I missed much of Firefly. I was busy doing graduate work at home at the time. And I missed it. And then they ruined the Firefly series from Joss Whedon. They only gave it to him as a reward for Buffy and for Angel. And so they felt they obligated, so they let him have that, and he ran it. And that was his best series. Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Angel were good, but Firefly was absolutely the best ever sci-fi series ever. No doubt about it. The dialogue, the concept, the whole thing. In fact, when they made the movie, Firefly, not Firefly, but what was the movie called? Serenity. When they made the movie Serenity, I went and watched it like 6 times in the theaters just to help, boost its viewership. Yeah, The Mentalist was good. Yeah, but that's not sci-fi. That's a crime show. Yeah, no, the best show ever was Firefly. I have it on Blu-ray. I have it on DVD. Yeah, it's a great show. Space 1999 was a Hollywood production with mostly British actors. Yep. Serenity was a good movie, and it resolved a lot of the questions. Thank you, Madeline, for the 70 Rand. Recent shorts showing all the cast firefighters speaking to each other, saying it's time, but I assume must be. Well, it's time. Well, I can imagine rebooting, absolutely. Now, of course, Wash is gone, so he's not there. Shepard Book is gone, but they can redo the series, absolutely. Now, Shepard Book can't come back because he's dead. Ron Glass died, unfortunately. But he was brilliant in that role. But the actor that played Wash is still alive, of course. That's Alan Tudyk, who plays in the Resident Alien series, which he was brilliant in. But they could bring him back in Visions. But they could easily do a reboot of that. They can jump forward 2 decades, and he could still be floating around an old Firefly, or maybe he's found another ship or something like that. But no, they could absolutely reboot that series. That would be fantastic. I would love to see a reboot with the original cast. Minus the Doctor, we don't need him. Summer Glau can come back, but we don't need her brother. He added nothing to that show. Yeah, you don't need him in the show. But yeah, absolutely. We could bring that show back. That would be fantastic. And they could even bring it back, and all that would be left would be like Mal would be on the ship. Malcolm Reynolds would be the captain, and Summer Glau would still be on there. Those two would be on the ship. And then the rest of them could be scattered all over the place, and it winds up initially being the crew gets back together, at least the ones that's still around. They find them in circumstances. Like, what's his name? The one that played one of the bald ones, the Baldwin guy, I can't think of his character's name. He could be like, in prison or something like that, or he could be on a planet where he's got himself in trouble and he's got to get out, and they come back and they find him and like, hey, you can rejoin the crew, and they take him off. And then, of course, that leaves all kinds of stuff for later on. Loved how Nathan Fillion brought Firefly cast and Castle to The Rookie. Yeah, The Rookie was good until it went woke. When it went woke, that was enough of that stupid show. I had enough of it. The actress that plays in that, the Asian from Canada, who is stunning, she was in one of my other favorite shows, and that's, what is that show? God bless it. Sci-fi series. Oh, that show was fantastic. The Expanse was good, but Expanse drags for a long period of time, and it was such an expensive thing. What was Canada sci-fi show about space? What the hell? I can't think of it right now. Come on, man. Come on. Why is it not showing? Oh, damn it. Anybody know which one I'm talking about? I can't think of it. I just watched it again the other day. Let me see. Come on. Where's it at? Oh, come on. Orphan Black was good. That's a good sci-fi show. Dark Matter. That's the one. Dark Matter. That's the one I'm thinking of. Dark Matter. I love Dark Matter. That show died prematurely. Yep. Dark Matter was an awesome show. Only had 39 episodes. It was on for 3 seasons. Dark Matter was fantastic. Yeah, Starship Troopers was a movie, though. It wasn't a series. Lost in Space, the original series. Okay. Resident Alien is a hoot. Laughed. Yeah, it is funny. Well, thank you, Spartan, for watching all your devices. I appreciate that. Pennsylvania Game Ranger series on Flix, premiering soon. I don't know that one. Yeah, Dark Matter, Ardo. Thank you. You got in there before I saw it. Yeah, Dark Matter, great series. Dark Matter is incredible. It's hard to find it, though. They want you to pay for the damn thing, but I have the DVDs. Thank goodness. Yeah, Nathan Fillion was fantastic in Firefly. He was great on Castle. The Rookie was good until they went woke. But the actress from that show, what is her name? She was awesome in the original show, Melissa O'Neill. Yeah, but then I see her in The Rookie, and she's good initially, but then her stupid tattoos, and anyway, she got bigger. Chinese-Canadian mother from Hong Kong, an Irish-Canadian father. Melissa O'Neill from Calgary. Yep. She's 37 now. Yep, she was fantastic in that series. I loved Dark Matter. What a great show. What a great show. If you haven't seen Dark Matter, you should watch it if you have the ability. It's a great show. Colony got canceled because it was, Colony had a good start to it. The 100, I watched the 100 for a season, but then I just lost interest in it. I can never get back into it. Yeah, Castle went woke too. I quit watching Castle after a few seasons. Blade Runner's good, yeah. Fringe, I tried watching Fringe. I could never get into it. I have the DVDs. Peaky Blinders I've never watched. The Avengers. The original Avengers? I never watched Ozark, Wirebird. I can't get into shows, but it's like that. What's the one with the guy who's the drug dealer who sells drug? What is that show? That actor. I can't stand those shows. I tried to watch the Weeds. That got boring pretty quickly. Breaking Bad. Thank you, Reddick. Yeah, I tried to watch that. Just couldn't get into it. 100 is frustrating. Watch it all, but some season episodes were good. Others, yeah, exactly. That's why I gave up. It started so well, but then it just kind of, Miss Hardcastle. Okay, McCormick. Oh my gosh, Hardcastle McCormick. Game of Thrones is appalling and bad, just about the same as the books. Wow. You are like in a minority. I don't care for Game of Thrones, but my reason is very different than yours. Not because it was bad, but because they killed Sean Bean in the first episode. Yep. You're also bored with Breaking Bad. Space 1000. Don't know that one. I've not watched Tulsa King. Pluribus I haven't seen. The last good show. There's another one. The Night Agent's pretty good. If you guys have seen that, Ever seen The Night Agent? That's a pretty good show. That's pretty well done. The actor's very good in that. Aha, so just another girl's just like me. Yeah, Sean Bean. Yeah, that was the end of that. I quit watching Game of Thrones just like that. I have all the DVDs because I got them on sale real cheap, over the years, but I have never got into watching it. Maybe one day I'll watch it. Chris Rogers. Who the hell's Chris Rogers? You mean Buck Rogers? I like Buck Rogers in the 21st Century. It was a great show with Gil Gerard. He's passed away. Prison Break. Yeah, that was okay, but it got boring too. You're welcome, Johan Bernard. Take care. Yeah, we should all probably wrap up here shortly. I've got to run out and pick up some meds, and I've got to speak tonight at 6 p.m. in about 4 hours. Yep, Buck Rogers. Yep. Blacklist was very well done. Yeah, very well done. Not sci-fi, though. Man in the High Castle. Couldn't watch it. Tried to. First season. Couldn't stomach it. Yep, Prison Break had one good season the first season. Yep, that's it. Oh, Buck Rogers dubbed in Afrikaans. I could love to see that. Anyway. All right, I'm going to wrap it up here, folks. Be sure to hit the like button if you haven't done already. How we doing on likes? Star Wars. Never a huge Star Wars fan, but I do like Star Wars. Okay. Thank you all for the super chats, especially the big one from Westhouse there for the Bulls. Good luck to the Bulls tomorrow, but I'm rooting, of course, for my team. What's going on here? Are we still there? Okay. Sorry, my window's looking kind of weird here. I got to bring it back up. Hopefully it fixed it. Nope, didn't fix it. All right. Okay, cool beans, folks. How the hell am I going to... Oh, there's the end stream button down there. All right, thanks for being here. Be sure to hit the like button, and we'll see you tomorrow morning. Well, tonight maybe for Night Owls if I feel well. Hopefully, I plan on doing Night Owls tonight. I need to make a couple videos, so it's going to be a busy evening. All right, so you guys take care. What's the basic culture in America and we're around the coastal areas less humid? What do you mean culture? Culture and climate are different. There's no basic culture. I don't understand what you mean. More Mediterranean. It's always humid around coastal areas. But we have Mediterranean. But the Mediterranean is going to be in San Diego, Southern California. Hey, Hank Audrey, say how's it going? All right, guys, take care. Cheers. Bye-bye.